Good morning, everyone. Got your coffee? I got mine. Grab yourself a cup of coffee if you don't have one. We're going to chit chat this morning. This is a rather relaxed morning for me. I can choose not to do anything today because my husband is off, or I can choose to do many things today because my husband is off. I think I'm going to choose to clean the windows in my house again. You know, I just went through a whole cycle of window washing. And then Helene came and fucked all that up for me. So I guess I'm back at it today. You know, I did a TikTok yesterday where I said I was really praying for, after having experienced Helene, I was really praying for these poor people in Florida. You know, because the state of Florida still has a lot of good people in it, you know. They have a problematic governor, and there are a lot of problematic, hateful individuals in the state of Florida. We all know that. But there are still a lot of good people in Florida, and there are a lot of black people in Florida. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how people can see me on a video screen, like you're seeing me on this video screen, and try to control what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And so when I said, if you are a praying person, pray for Florida, one young black lady stepped up and said, well, they ain't praying for you. You know, I am to the point now where I am so afraid for America, in the sense where people no longer think critically anymore. I find that so scary. People don't even think critically anymore. There's no critical thinking anymore. Even the old people, with older people, I don't know if it's in the water, if it's in the air, I don't know where it is, what's going on. Of course, it's the defunding of education in America, but it's also because we don't invest in education in America anymore. We don't. If you want your kid to get a good education, you have to make sure that you live in one of those neighborhoods that has an excellent, zone. And that takes money. It may be public, but it still takes money. Or you have to literally pay for it. You have to send them to one of those kinds of schools and just pay the money. Otherwise, your kids are not getting a quality education, not unless you fill in the gaps as a parent. You have to be willing, and I know, people work, people are tired, but I'm trying to tell you, if you don't want your kid to be stupid, and we're going to just use that word, because I remember a time when I would never use the word stupid, but people are just really fucking stupid. And I find it terrifying. I find it terrifying how stupid Americans are becoming. Florida has its fair share of racists. We know that. But there are also a lot of black people in Tampa, in Florida. In Tampa in particular, those areas that they want evacuated. And they still have a lot of good people of all colors. Sacrificing our people because you don't like their people, that's pretty radical to me. I can't get behind that ideology. I can't get behind don't pray for my people. Don't worry about my people because of their people. I can't. I don't understand the logic behind that. That is stupid. It's stupid. I deal with this curbside library pantry, and it's been a real joy for me. But whenever I post on the community boards, I always say, please do not block my driveway or my neighbor's driveway. And people always do. They always do. Now, if you can find the address in your way here, they definitely read the part when I said, please do not, in bold letters, block my driveway or my neighbor's driveway. So yesterday when I posted, I put up a stronger message about that. Letting people know that there's a disabled individual that lives at this address, and I want my driveway clear at all times. And one lady who has clearly been here before says, well, maybe you should put up a picture of where you want people to park, because I was so confused when I came because of where the curbside pantry is located, and then you don't want people to block the driveway. Now listen, I understand what that is. That and certain people are always going to think that certain people are stupid. You know what I'm saying? Certain people always going to think certain people we're stupid. First of all, you bringing your ass to my house, lady. I'm the homeowner. And if I say, don't block my driveway, don't block my driveway. Not to mention, it's illegal. It's actually illegal. Here in South Carolina, that's another thing, though. They make up their own road rules. They don't follow the actual rules of the road. So I can see where that might have stumped her. But she wanted, so when I responded to her, I said, so what you want is a visual aid to help you not block a driveway. There's nothing confusing about don't block the driveway. It's nothing confusing about that. It's the way people she willfully ignored the request, and then basically said, it's your fault that I'm doing that. I didn't make it unclear. I didn't make it confusing. Literally, my whole front of my house, which fits 2 parked cars very comfortably, is available. Ma'am, you can park anywhere where there's not a driveway. She needed a visual aid to help her with that. Yesterday, another lady, I was talking about our lovely library pantry again. And that was when I did that TikTok about it being Amazon Prime Day. And this lady said to me, oh, I bought some things from the list, but at some point, do you mind posting the pantry so that I can see? I'd like to do something like this in my community. I thanked her for contributing to the library pantry, because I'm always grateful for that. And I told her I absolutely, at no point do I mind posting about the pantry, as I have done numerous times from beginning to today. Multiple times. And then she comes back and she says, LOL, oh, I could have just looked at the older videos. Like, your brain wasn't even prompted to do that. Like, your brain didn't move you to that. Like, it didn't just prompt you to say, oh, let me go back and see her other videos. I did some videos about Mama Tot and that situation that was going on over on TikTok. I can't believe how many people were in my comments. Some of the comments I erased here over on YouTube about people saying that they didn't know who she was. Well, I don't know who this person is. Do you know what the fuck a search bar is? Do you know what the fuck Google is? When I said that lady had 13 million followers, if you Google her, she'll come up with 13 million followers. People aren't even prompted. And then they put the onus of them not knowing what you're talking about onto you. Like, it's somehow my fault that you can't follow the conversation. If you can't follow the conversation and you're unwilling to look up the information, then the conversation isn't for you now, is it? It's not. I am so afraid at the way people will not look for or search out information anymore. You expect to be spoon-fed the information. You expect to be... And this is why it's so easy for Americans to buy into propaganda and rhetoric and misinformation. Because y'all don't even look for information anymore. You literally have it right here at your fingertips. You can swipe right on over and Google anything you want to know. And y'all will not do it. And I am scared for you. I am. I am scared for you. I am. I am horrified for you. Speaking of this hurricane that they're saying is going to be the storm of the century for certain parts of Florida, a lot of people are having a conversation about the way prisoners are being treated when we know that these storms are coming. And I agree, because I remember what happened during both Ian and Katrina, where prisoners in Hurricane Katrina, there's still over almost 600 people. I think somewhere between 500 and 600 people still accounted for. So we know that they died. Did you know that the procedure for evacuating prisoners during a storm of this magnitude coming is to, excuse me, in fact, not evacuate prisoners when a storm of this magnitude is coming? It is. Everyone in the jail that is a civilian, after they give the prisoners water and throw in bag lunches for them, they leave the facility and the prisoners are just locked in their cells. As a matter of fact, during Katrina, if the prisoners tried to escape with their lives, they were shot. They weren't even allowed to save their lives. Did you know that? Where's the humanity? Excuse me. Where's the plan to evacuate? How is this legal? You know, there are states, excuse me, this is a morning. There are states whose entire economic infrastructure is dependent upon prison labor, slavery. Alabama, Arizona. Other states are very heavily relying on it, like Texas, California, Tennessee. Allowing prisoners to drown during a hurricane, you know what that reminds me of? Leaving them locked inside to just drown during a hurricane. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of transatlantic slavery, when ships would get caught in certain waters by, say, where chattel slavery was illegal, like in Britain or in France. And when those slave ships got caught in those waters, they will oftentimes throw the slaves over the sides of the boats in order to avoid the consequences of their actions. And in doing that, mind you, it gets even more sinister than that. Banks like Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, excuse me, insured the lives of those slaves. So when they threw them overboard, all those lives were insured. And they got paid for those lives, even though they weren't allowed to make money off money off of years of their labor and hard work. They also threw them off the sides of the boat in order to conserve water, if they got too sick to sail, to prevent slaves from revolting. If they thought, the black people were getting a little antsy about having their freedom stolen, or being raped or sodomized or brutalized, they just throw one overboard. That's what this reminds me of, especially since we know that prisons are for profit and that it's just slavery by another name. And don't get me wrong, I am not saying that there are not some people who deserve to be locked the fuck up. Okay, I know some people walking around free that deserve to be locked the fuck up. But I think that working a regular schmegular job, leasing out prisoners, and the state raking in that money from them, I think that shit should be illegal. That is slavery. It's slavery. Slavery codified into the U.S. Constitution. American greed, right? American greed. Let's go a little deeper on that with this storm coming. Do you know that there are the airlines whom our tax dollars bailed out? Mind you, we kept the airlines from failing with our tax dollars. Have the nerve, the audacity to charge people, to price gouge them, charge them outrageous amounts of money to fly out of Tampa to avoid this storm. How is that legal? How is that okay? Usually costs you a couple $100 to fly out of Tampa on a weekday. And now that is $1,000 or more, that ticket. We're gonna let people die because they can't afford a plane ticket. That's what we doing. America has become this evil. Well, it always was. A lot of people just weren't acknowledging it for a long time. But I think that now that America doesn't care, these corporations don't care who they fuck over anymore. White, black, man, woman, they don't care who they fuck over anymore. More people are feeling it now more than ever. People whose whiteness used to protect them from it, people whose gender used to protect them from it, people whose money used to protect them from it, are no longer protected from it. And so they are feeling what a lot of us have always felt in this nation, in one way or another. And now they're angry. I am just so angry at FEMA. If you know, you know. People who are used to having the resources are seeing those resources disappear because corporate greed don't care. Corporate greed coming for us all. After having experienced Helene, I am praying for Florida in a way that I have never prayed for Florida before. I am still, and I haven't talked about every aspect of this hurricane. I'm sitting here in my vehicle and I'm still looking at trees down on my block. And I don't know, I have never experienced a storm, not even in Michigan. Because in Michigan, we deal with the opposite end of it. You ever seen a polar vortex at work? That shit ain't no joke neither. It is no joke. Snow so heavy, roofs cave in, power grids are destroyed. So much snow mounds taller than you are. Your car being buried for days on end. People not being able to make their way to water and food. It's something else too. These natural disasters are a direct consequence of us not taking care of the planet. Our home. And people still throw trash out of their cars so nonchalantly, without a thought to where that trash actually goes. If we don't put it in the place where it belongs, it ends up in our oceans. It kills our marine life. It clogs up sewers and drains and wells, and suffering occurs. Suffering that didn't have to take place. Because you can't wait till you find a trash can. No respect for your home. No respect for other people. There is no more dignity and humanity. And so when you find those people, because you're so rare now, hold on tight, because they are disappearing. More and more people are giving up every day to America's corruption, or surrendering to it. We got to make America think again. And it starts by voting out every single Republican in this nation. They gotta go. They do. They gotta go. And if you vote blue or if you vote purple like I do, you have to show up and show out before they figure out how to take that from us too. When you really think about it, we're a lot like those people inside of the jails, just waiting on the next bad thing to happen. Economic prisoners, not being able to afford quality of life and a happy existence, living from one paycheck to the next paycheck. My husband and I, we have not had a vacation since 2016. 2016. You can't afford joy anymore in America. And we're doing nothing to stop the corporations, the politicians, This two-party system is not working for us anymore. But it's all we got right now. So show up and show out. People need to be paid for their labor. People need to be free to live and exist. And to do that happily and safely as possible. That is it for me today. Thank you for hanging in there with me with my thoughts. And if you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, I'll put my Venmo and my Cash App down in the comments. If you'd like to support my platform, don't forget today is the last day of Amazon Prime. I will put the link to our wish list for our pantry over there down in the comments as well. I want you to have a happy day. If you are a praying person, throw a prayer up for Florida, especially for poor Floridians, because they are the ones who will suffer the most, because poverty will force you to shelter in place.